Nelson Mandela. His name was known all over the world. But he started as a simple boy, born in a small village called Mvezo, in South Africa. Growing up, he learned the traditions of the Xhosa people. They taught him to live with respect and dignity. But even as a young boy, Mandela saw unfairness around him. The laws were controlled by colonists who wanted to keep people separate. These unfair laws angered young Nelson. It lit a fire in him, a fire for justice, a fire that would one day change the world. Mandela's Xhosa upbringing taught him the importance of community, of Ubuntu. The idea that we are all connected, that we are all part of one big human family. This belief shaped how he saw the world. It fueled his dream of a fair and equal society, a society where everyone could succeed. Mandela's early life was a mix of traditions and troubles. It was this difficult time that made him strong and determined. As Mandela grew older, the unfairness around him grew worse. Apartheid, a system that separated people by race, took hold of South Africa. It was a cruel system that treated people terribly. Mandela knew he had to do something. In 1944, he joined the African National Congress, or ANC. Their goal? To end apartheid and create a free and equal South Africa. Mandela quickly became a leader in the ANC. He was passionate and dedicated to the cause. He believed in peaceful protests inspired by Gandhi's teachings, but the government responded with violence. Peaceful protests were met with brutality. The government even banned the ANC, trying to silence anyone who opposed them. But they underestimated Mandela's determination. In 1964, the worst happened. Nelson Mandela was sentenced to life in prison. He was accused of sabotage and conspiracy. His real crime? Fighting for equality. He was sent to Robben Island, a lonely, desolate prison off the coast of Cape Town. Life on Robben Island was harsh. Hard labor, tiny cells, and very little contact with the outside world. But Mandela's spirit never broke. He remained a symbol of hope. His fellow prisoners found strength in his unwavering belief in a better future. He became known as Prisoner 46664, but his spirit soared beyond the prison walls. News of Mandela's imprisonment traveled beyond South Africa. The world started to pay attention. People saw the injustice of apartheid. They heard the call for Mandela's freedom. Free Nelson Mandela became a global cry for justice. Musicians, artists, and activists joined the fight. Concerts were held in his name. Countries imposed sanctions on South Africa, putting pressure on the government. The world was watching. Inside South Africa, the struggle continued. People were inspired by Mandela's sacrifice. The fight for freedom was far from over. By the late 1980s, things were changing. The apartheid regime was feeling the pressure. The world was united against them. Their economy was getting weaker. Change was in the air. In 1990, Frederick Willem de Klerk, the new president of South Africa, made a historic announcement. He lifted the ban on the ANC. And most importantly, he announced the release of Nelson Mandela. The world held its breath. February 11, 1990. The world watched as Nelson Mandela walked free from Victor Verster prison. After 27 long years, he was finally free. He raised his fist in a symbol of victory. The crowd erupted. A nation and indeed the world celebrated. Mandela spoke to the crowd in Cape Town. His words were powerful yet measured. He called for unity and forgiveness. He spoke of a future where all South Africans were equal. Mandela's release was more than just the end of his imprisonment. It was the beginning of a new era for South Africa. He led the country through a peaceful transition to democracy. In 1994, he became South Africa's first black president. Mandela's journey from prisoner to president is a testament to the power of resilience and forgiveness. He taught the world that even when faced with unimaginable cruelty, hope can win. His legacy continues to inspire people around the world to fight for justice and equality. Mandela's impact reached far beyond South Africa's borders. He became a global icon, a symbol of peace, forgiveness, and reconciliation. He showed the world that change is possible, that even the most deep-rooted injustices can be overcome. He reminded us that every human being has value, that we all deserve to be treated with dignity and respect. His message of hope resonated across cultures and continents. He showed us the power of forgiveness. He taught us that true strength lies in compassion and understanding. Nelson Mandela's story is a beacon of hope for all of humanity. He taught us that even in the darkest of times, we must never give up on our dreams. We must never stop fighting for what is right. His legacy of courage, compassion, and forgiveness continues to inspire us today. Let us all strive to live up to the ideals that Mandela embodied. Let us build a world where everyone is free and equal, a world where peace and justice prevail. Let us honor his legacy by continuing the fight for a better tomorrow.